Okay, so let me quickly show you how to apply the protocol that I've been teaching you when you take the ACT reading exam. So this is my spearfit.org website. You click ACT reading and just go to here to the introductory guide, and that takes you to the CUNY. On this site, you come here to click practice passages up here, right? So just let me show you quickly. So I'm just going to click the first one. I haven't read this yet. So I'm just going to click continue here. So that's when you start the reading exam, right? So make sure that you ask for, so in the actual exam, make sure that you have scrap paper. You ask the proctor for scrap paper, and as you read the passage, take notes or sum up each paragraph. Make sure you scroll down to read the entire passage, and for each paragraph you annotate or sum up each paragraph in a few words or even a sentence, but you should not be spending more than 30 seconds, or you should not be spending more than a minute for each paragraph annotating. But you could take all the time you need to read, though. Read thoroughly. So let me go quickly to back at my SpearFit website, my ACT reading page. I click ACT reading, and then here I'm gonna click on approach and strategies. So on this page, ACT reading approach, you could just scroll. You could read the top paragraphs. It's about how to approach the exam. They're very important, but right now I'm just going to go over the protocol, the steps. So I mentioned ask for scrap paper. Read the passage carefully, and you should be annotating, summing up each paragraph in a phrase, as I mentioned. I have already mentioned that. So after you've done that, on the scrap paper, you should write the main idea in one sentence, so that you get a clear sense of what the main idea, the main message, or the overall message, whatever you want to call it, the main message of the passage. Write it down on scrap paper. Doing that is very important because many questions you may get wrong if you do not understand the main message or the main idea of the passage. So do that on scrap paper, and then write the attitude and tone. What do you think is if the passage has a tone or attitude toward an issue? So describe that in a sentence. Do that on scrap paper. If the passage is just factual and does not seem to have an attitude or tone, you could just write there's no attitude or tone, or you could write it's an objective. It's a very objective passage. It has an objective tone. Just it's just giving facts. So going down the list here. Then when you begin answering the questions, always go back to the passage. For those of you who have already failed this test once or more, for each question, it may be a good idea to reread the passage from the beginning to the point of the passage where you believe the answer is located. So that you want to be sure, be like a detective, make sure that you get the question correct. Don't rely on memory. And by the time you're done with answering all the questions, and in each question you should be going back to the passage, so you should be reading the passage many times, and then you should check your answers to all the questions before you move on. So you should go back to each question and check the answers before you click go on. Be like a detective, be thorough. You do not want to fail the test and come back to remedial class again. If that's gonna waste you a lot more time. So take take the time now or at the time of the test to be thorough. Take all the time you need, especially when it's not a timed test.